What's up, Bills Mafia, Built in Buffalo fam? Welcome back. Another episode of Off the Edge coming right to you. We got a good one for you guys today. I'm going to be joined by Izzy once again. We got playoffs in 2 days, playoff football going on right now that will affect the Bills if they do, in fact, move on against the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot to get into. Hope everybody's staying safe out there, but let's get right into it. Off the Edge starts right now. What is going on, Bills Mafia, Built in Buffalo fam? Welcome back to Off the Edge. Another great show for you guys tonight. Lot to talk about, lot to dive into. But again, I'm here joined by Izzy once again. It's been, like I said, become pretty much a regular now on Off the Edge, and it's fun, man. Me and Izzy have some great talks every show. So, Izzy, how you doing? Are you guys staying safe where you are? How is it where you are? And how you doing on this fine Saturday evening?
So down here in the Carolinas, it's mostly windstorms. Like you guys are getting like the snow, but that wind is working its way down the coast. And the other day we had tornado warnings, and we had the kids, the dogs, we all bunkered down downstairs until the tornado warning was up. But we've had some really bad winds, and that's about it. But we've been safe. It's been windy, and we're expecting snow. I think this weekend or next weekend.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know it's been crazy weather pretty much everywhere, at least along the East Coast, with snow, wind, rain, whatever it is. I mean, it's been pretty much crazy everywhere. And obviously, Buffalo today is really the first day that they're getting hit massively, which we'll get into the weather in a little bit. But, it's obviously impacting the game. It's impacting not just Buffalonians, it's impacting everywhere. So it's been kind of crazy with the weather, but we'll get into that in a second. But before we get into it, there are football games going on today as well. One is pretty much over, not in terms of time-wise, but just in terms of the score of the football game. Yeah, it's not been a good one for right now for the Cleveland Browns. It was Browns, Texans. Texans are just blowing them out right now. I believe it's 45 to 14. 45-14. Yep. So it's but we got some former Bills over there in Houston. So they're, Case Keenum, Devin Singletary, Jerry Hughes. So you got a couple former Bills over there that are going to be moving on. Bobby Woods as well. So yeah, you got a couple Bills moving on there in the playoffs. Maybe the Bills will end up meeting up against Houston in the playoffs here. But we do have another game tonight in Kansas City and Miami. But before we talk about that one, I want to just ask you, before the Cleveland game started, who were you kind of hoping to winning in that one, Cleveland or Houston? I know we talked about it a little bit before the show. I have my choice, but what would your choice be out of those two if you had to choose before the game had started? Cleveland. Yeah. I'm a little bit
better. But I think that their offense, we could get at their offense way better than the Texans are right now. I think that we defensively we're better than the Texans. We would work them kind of like this.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I would have rather had the Texans just because I think the Browns defense can shut the Bills down easier. However, again, like you said, I mean, both sides have positives. Both sides have negatives. They're both very good teams. The Texans are going to be moving on, so it looks like it's going to be Houston. I mean, C.J. Stroud, man, looks phenomenal. I mean, he really does. He looks like the guy that's going to be running that AFC South for a while there. So, yeah, and we got John, the Texans up 45-14. But, yeah, it's been, it's been a crazy year for Houston fans. I don't think Houston fans expected to win a playoff game this season. I don't even know if they expected to make the playoffs this season, but here they are. They're about to win a playoff game, first year under D'Amico Ryans, and it's just they have a very, very solid roster. They got some great weapons out there with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and you got even Devin Singletary even too, and Dalton Schultz. So they got a good team, and they're an up and coming team too. So that's great to see. So before we get into KC and Miami, what are your thoughts on Houston moving on? And does it remind you of kind of like that? To me, it reminds me a little bit of that bit in 2019 Bills where they're starting to kind of, or 2020 Bills where they're starting to kind of, make a push in here and trying to show that they're going to be a team to worry about for a while. So what are your thoughts on Houston?
CJ Stroud coming out of the draft was my quarterback that I wanted. I thought not wanted, but thought would go first overall. As a Carolinian at this point in my life, I do pull for the Panthers at times. And when they pulled the Bryce Young string, I was like, you picked the wrong guy. You done messed up, Aaron. And here they are. The Panthers are the worst team in football with the first overall pick, and it's not even their pick, it's the Bears' pick. And the Texans are in the playoffs with a chance to make a run at the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think that they're gonna get to the Super Bowl, but they have the chance to make the run.
Yeah.
Right now they're decimating a team that I thought could have been in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not close at all. Like the eye test isn't close, the yards aren't close, the stats aren't like the scoring isn't close. It's not close. This is as brutal of a beatdown as we put on Miami in Week 4. And you know what? I think in our group chat, Dave said, I think it was Dave, Flacco was due for one of these. Yeah. And here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And Houston, I mean, they're they, like you said, with Stroud, it's something that they kind of got lucky with Carolina passing on him and going with Young. Now, Carolina has a lot of other issues, not just quarterback there. So I think, yes, Carolina wishes maybe they would have drafted Stroud. Would their season have gone a lot different? Maybe not. Probably still would have been one of the worst teams in football, but it certainly hurts more when they don't have their first round pick now this season. So Carolina is, especially their fan base, I know, is definitely a little bit in shambles right now. But Houston is not, and Houston is loving life right now. So they're about to move on in the playoffs there. But there's another game tonight, bigger one, kind of, I think, in terms of just who Bills Mafia is interested in seeing play. So it's Kansas City, Miami. This would be absolutely huge one, because if Miami wins, then that means Buffalo would play Houston. If Miami loses and it's Kansas City, that means Kansas City is coming to Buffalo. So it's going to be, it's going to be a big game for Buffalo. They're going to be watching it definitely a lot tonight. So out of that matchup, who would you rather play in the next round, Kansas City or Miami, and who do you wish moves on?
Well, we wouldn't play Miami.
Yeah,
Miami They go to Baltimore, and we would see Houston. But if KC wins, then we see them. So I would rather see KC, honestly. They do not look good. Yeah. And personally, I want to be the ones who put them out. I want to be the ones who puts a stamp on that ass. Go home.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm back and forth on this, man. I know I've been talking about it a little bit on social media today with everybody, and it's been a little bit back and forth for me. I think I'm more siding with Miami winning. Actually, no. Earlier I was putting Miami to win because I wanted to play Cleveland, or I can't even remember what I was thinking earlier. But either way, I think I just wanted Miami to win because I wanted Miami to go on another home or road game, and the Bills, if Miami beats Baltimore, then that would mean Buffalo would host the AFC Championship. However, now that it's looking like Houston's going to win and KC, it doesn't really matter either way at this point, because if KC ends up winning, then they would come here. So I don't know. I'm back and forth on it, man. I really am. It's crazy, to think that we're not automatically rooting against Miami, which is the crazy part. I think, yeah, I know you are, but I'm saying, like, as a whole, majority Bills Mafia, it's not like, we're 100% rooting for KC. So it's funny to see it, because I see people even going back and forth, on Twitter and everything, saying, oh, well, no, this is why we should want Miami to win. Well, this is why we should want KC to win. Either way, I think the Bills can easily beat both teams. So to me, it doesn't matter when it comes to I'd rather have the Bills face. It's just when it comes to the path that it would go on for how it would change the rest of the playoffs. So to me, I think I'd actually would rather play KC than Houston. So I guess now that Houston won, that changes things. If the Browns would have won, maybe I would have thought Miami now, but now that Houston's winning, CJ Stroud looks phenomenal. If there's any quarterback that can tear apart the Bills
scenario, who do you think has a better chance of beating Baltimore, Miami or Houston?
I would say Miami. Even though Miami has all those injuries, I still think Miami could just because I think out of either team, I could not see Baltimore struggling against a rookie quarterback.
We already watched that movie though. It was not a good
Yeah,
movie. It was a horrible movie.
yes, that is true. But again, we've seen it in the playoffs, so where teams have gotten blown out, and then the playoffs times comes and the other team wins. Right? It's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to beat a team even 3 times in the NFL.
Another reason we're not going to lose.
Yeah, that's true, because it is hard for the Bills to have to play Miami again. It is hard to beat a team 3 times. So even though I don't think either team ends up beating Baltimore, I do think Miami has a better chance than Houston, just because I don't see, if there's any offense out of those two offenses, I could see Miami putting up more challenges with Tyreek another week healthier, with Waddle another week healthier, right? I know their defense, they've had some injuries, injuries all over the place. I just think if there's any offense that would be able to crack Baltimore's defense, it would be Miami's. And, I know we saw that a few weeks ago, and it did not go well for Miami. However, like I said, with a healthier Tyreek, with a healthier Waddle, maybe the game does change. But at the end of the day, I don't see either of those teams really beating Baltimore, in my opinion. I think Baltimore is just too good of a team right now. Their defense is playing some phenomenal football. So I think, I think either way, it wouldn't matter too much who Baltimore plays, because I think Baltimore wins either way. But when it comes to the Bills, who would I rather have match up, Kansas City or Houston? Kansas City, probably, just because, Kansas City has struggles on offense. Their defense is phenomenal. So it's really just, would you rather play a high-powered offense in Houston, who's shown that they can put up a lot of points? Or do you want to play Kansas City's defense, who has been shown to be able to cause offenses a lot of problems? So it's something that I don't think it changes either way too much how I view the game. I think the Bills have a pretty much similar percentage of winning against either team, whether it's Kansas City or Houston. But I think I'm going to lean, I'd rather play Kansas City over Houston this week or next week if the Bills win. But the Bills have to win first. There's by no means a given here with Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh, the odds will tell you the Bills should run away with this game. Everything tells you the Buffalo Bills should win this game. But it's the playoffs. We've seen crazier things happen. So the game did get moved, not out of Buffalo, but moved to Monday at 4:30. It's been a mixed bag of emotions with everybody here. I know a lot of Bills fans understand why the game was moved. I understand that a lot of even I do see a lot of Dolphins fans saying that they understand it. But it seems like there's still a lot of people across the NFL that don't really understand it. So what are your just overall thoughts on the game being moved back to 4:30 on Monday instead of having it again 1:00 on Sunday tomorrow? So what are your thoughts on that?
So for personal reasons, I don't like it because I got to work Monday, but I'm gonna try and get all my stuff done early on Monday, so I can get my butt back home and watch that game, or I'll have it on in my pocket with an earbud in or something. But yeah, it sucks for that reason, but at the same time, I actually kind of like having the spread out. If you're gonna have a Monday night game, because you added 2 more playoff games to this weekend, making it super wild card weekend, then why not have 2 Monday games? Spread it out. Like, I got stuff to do on Sunday too. Like, I gotta cook. That's usually when I cook, is on Sunday. So it's nice to have it on Monday, but at the same time, I got to try and get out of work early. I got to get my stuff done sooner. It's a hassle. So I think it's a hassle for a lot more people than just me. I know some people will call out, or if they're in Buffalo, they'll be able to have it on the TV at work or something like that, or on their phone, on their desk or something. But I don't work at that shop. I work in people's houses. So
yeah. I mean, it's for me, I'm lucky enough to be one of the people that do have off on Monday. So I'm lucky enough to not have to really worry about it. But I do. I mean, I get it. It messes everything up, right? Everybody had the schedule. Game was going to be Sunday, especially, traveling people, Pittsburgh fans coming up here. They planned on having this game one Sunday at 1:00. However, I do understand why they moved it. And again, it's not because of the amount of snow. It's not because of when the snow is necessarily even coming. It's just all of it combined. It's the wind, it's the cold, it's the snow all at once. And it's more so just the traveling for people, right? You don't want 80,000 people going to one spot, and then that has to slow down emergency services. It has to slow down even traffic even more, getting to the game, leaving the game. There's going to be people that try to do things more than they think than they should be trying to do when they're traveling, right? They're going faster than they should be, making turns they shouldn't be, just kind of trying to cut the system, get there first, everything like that. So it eliminates all those factors. The plows will be able to get out, Sunday night, Sunday during the day, kind of get out and get going there to kind of clear the road. So then when Monday does come, people can travel easier. So I think that's what most people don't really, especially outside of Buffalo and that live in warmer weather, they don't understand how that can work, which I mean, I get. I don't really know how things like tornadoes or hurricanes, I don't get how that would work. But this is how snowstorms work. It happens. Last year in Buffalo, we had the snowstorm, and unfortunately, we had 47 people lose their lives due to the storm because it wasn't prepared maybe as much as they should have. People didn't follow the directions as much as they should have, which will happen every time, no matter what. But it's just, it's taking these precautions because they saw what happened last year. They want to prevent anything bad from happening this season, especially if it is worse than they think it is, because there's a chance that it could be. There's a chance it could be better than they think it is, and there's a chance that it could be way worse. So why take the chance? Why take the chance at human lives? Why take the chance at something like this when it's at the end of the day? And I know people don't want to hear it, but at the end of the day, this is just a football game, right? At the end of the day, human lives and people's safety is more important than a football game. And another day, it's a holiday for a lot of people. I know, Izzy, you don't necessarily have off, and I know a lot of people that don't have off, but it's just unfortunately the thing that it's the move they had to make to make it safe for everybody. And unfortunately, that does come with the downsides of some people working, or people might not be able to go to the game. I know I was supposed to be going with my cousin. He goes to college at the University of Syracuse. He can't go anymore because he's got to get back. He's got to take the train back Monday to go back to Syracuse. So, it's a mixed bag. I get why people are upset, but at the same time, you have to understand why they made this move. So, I think that's enough though about why the game was moved. I think everybody's had enough talk about that today. So let's move on though to the actual game. Pittsburgh Steelers coming to Buffalo, right? I actually believe they're flying in tomorrow now, if I'm not mistaken. I did see that their flight had gotten canceled today. I don't know when they're flying in, if that was a false report, if they're already here. I'm not 100% sure, but I did see a report saying that their flight got canceled today and they're coming tomorrow. So Pittsburgh, they're going to be here. It's going to be a good game, I think, especially with this weather. No matter what, in cold games, it just affects all players at some point. So Steelers coming in. What are your just overall thoughts about Pittsburgh coming in and this game coming up?
I think depending on the weather, how the field condition and all that stuff, it could be a game that is sloppy. But if the field condition is good Monday, which we suspected it wouldn't have been tomorrow, I think that the Bills have a better shot at it. I think that the Bills' defense matches up better with 90% of the offenses in the NFL, whereas Pittsburgh's defense doesn't so much, especially now that TJ Watt's out. That's going to be a huge loss for them. I think the Bills will be able to run the ball on them a little bit better than most teams at this point because of the missing TJ Watt, but it still be a majority passing game for the Bills. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot more than running it in this game, I assume. Their secondary is kind of mid. They got Minka Fitzpatrick, but it's Levi Wallace, Patrick Peterson out there, and I don't even know who the other guy is. Yeah, so Joey Porter Jr. So he's pretty good too, but he's a rookie. I think that someone like Josh Allen will be able to take advantage of him at this point in time in his career. But down the future, I could see a really good future for Joey Porter Jr. But yeah, I think the Bills will be too much for him. I think it'll be like a 30-17 game, something like that. It's not a prediction, just something that popped up in my head. I'll revise that a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll definitely have our official predictions towards the end of the show and everything. And I just see Joey put his prediction in there. Joey, I'll pop that up a little bit later in the show once we get to all of the predictions. But I do like that one. But yeah, I mean, it's I think, for the Bills, it's the game that if TJ Watt plays, then the defense matches up a little bit better against the Bills offense. But at the end of the day, no matter what, no matter the weather conditions, no matter who's in or out, the Buffalo Bills should win this game. there's no thought in my mind that ever came across to thinking that Mason Rudolph should beat Josh Allen in in Buffalo. Like that just shouldn't happen in Pittsburgh, let alone in Buffalo. But that can't happen. I don't see it happening just because Mason Rudolph, as good as he's maybe even been for Pittsburgh this season, obviously not top tier, but he's played some all right football for Pittsburgh this season. He's had some good games, and you know, he can make plays, but at the end of the day, he's not a Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He can do things that no other quarterback or no other person on this earth can be able to do. So this game shouldn't, like you said, it shouldn't really be a game too much. The Bills should honestly take full advantage of the TJ Watt injury and just this Pittsburgh team being a middle of the road team, in my opinion, in the NFL. And does that mean that they can not beat the Buffalo Bills? No, by no means. It's the NFL. We've seen crazier things happen. But the Buffalo Bills should not lose this game at all. So matchup wise, I think the Bills, when it comes to matchups on paper, it should not be a close game. However, like we said, they have their work cut out for them. They have to still win this game. So for the offense, we already talked about defense a little bit. TJ Watt's out for Pittsburgh. But for this Buffalo Bills offense, what area of the offense do you think they should lean on tomorrow? Whether it's passing game, running game, whether it's even more in depth than that, whether it's leaning more just on Josh, whatever it is. What do you think they should lean on offensively for the Buffalo Bills?
I think that the biggest factor is going to be tight ends. They don't really do too well against tight ends. We have 2 tight ends who can really eat you alive if you let them. Or not even let them, because they're good tight ends, they're not going to be able to do anything with these tight ends. I see Diggs and Shakir playing their roles and being more decoys this week. I think that Shakir will get some more targets this week than he normally would in a week like this, where we're going to be focusing on the tight ends because Davis is out. And so Shakir, on a normal time where we're going to focus on tight ends, would normally get 1, maybe none when it comes to passes thrown his way. But because the tight ends are more likely to be a focal point, he'll probably get 3 or 4 passes thrown his way. If he's the hot hand, he may get more. But I see the script being about 3 or 4, maybe 5 passes going towards Khalil Shakir. And I think that's going to be mostly to take heat off the tight ends. I don't know if they have anybody who can guard Diggs. I really don't think that they have anybody who, if you put them out on the outside, one-on-one, man coverage, any of those guys can really cover Stephon Diggs. And I think that the Bills really need to focus on who's lined up with who and allow Josh to make plays or give him a couple of different plays where he can check out of and check into that are going to benefit him when those players line up in specific ways. Like if he looks at them and says, okay, they know what we're doing, we're going to change this and fix that right there on the spot before the play starts. This is going to be Josh, Kincaid, and Knox. And they'll have a run game to balance it out, and the receivers will be there to decoy and block. And so that's how I see this game going. You may see some trick plays because they're mostly big and powerful guys. They don't have a lot of speed on the D-line. They run a 3-4, so their speed is going to be on the outside, and TJ Watt's not there. So you might see some end arounds. You may see some jet sweeps, some wide receiver screens, some bubble screens, and that type of deal. But I think the tight ends are going to be the focal point.
Yeah, I want to build off of your point of how Pittsburgh's defense is more of a power, big unit, not so much flying across the football field all over the place speed and just bringing really that sideline to sideline speed in here.
Yeah.
And, it's also kind of building off your tight end point of I think they need to just lean on play action, in my opinion. You need to get play action and even on top of that, pre-snap motion along with play action, because the pre-snap motion, like you said, if you can figure out with pre-snap motion whether they're in man, zone, who's covering who before the snap, that's huge. Boom, right there. This Pittsburgh defense, if boom, they're in zone. All right, this is what we're looking at. Let's see what we can do here. We have our certain plays for zone versus certain plays for man. So I think you have to just use that pre-snap motion to your advantage. Let it tell what the defense is doing. Let it tell like you put the onus on the defense to say, hey, we have to disguise this even better now because this offense is using so much pre-snap motion that it's going to give away. Oh, we're in man-to-man coverage. We have Joey Porter Jr. on Stephon Diggs. If they know they have a rookie corner in Joey Porter Jr., who by no means is a bad cornerback in this league, but again, he's a rookie going up against a guy like Stephon Diggs. If you know you have one-on-one with him, or you know you even just have man coverage in him, that can set up a lot of different things and really just open up the playbook for them. On top of then that can lead to play action. Josh Allen is great against play action. They already are missing their top pass rusher in TJ Watt. So you have their top pass rusher, their top edge threat just out of the game already. Get Josh in play action, get him moving, get him rolling out of the pocket. So I think, those two are going to be my two keys is play action and really just lean on pre-snap motion. So it's all going to come down to making the defense overthink. And you saw it against the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they used a lot of pre-snap motion, even if it was just simple. I know Dan Orlovsky was talking about hop the back. Even that alone can give away if they're in man, if they're in zone, what the look is from the defense is hop the back, which simply, for those who don't know, hop the back is simply just Josh kind of does a little hand motion, a little arm motion, and whether it's Cook, not Singletary, Cook, Johnson, or whoever it is in the backfield for Fournette, they just hop over to the other side of them, whether it's from right to left, left to right. Just utilize that. Utilize every advantage you can have to, before the ball's even snapped, know what the other defense is throwing at you. So I think pre-snap motion and play action are going to be my two keys, which kind of coincide with yours because play action, what does that do? That opens things up a lot, especially for the tight ends too, because then they have to watch for delayed routes from the tight ends. They have to watch for sneak routes where they're running play action. They hook out to the right, tight end goes left, they throw across the field, because if there's any quarterback that can also do that, it's Josh Allen with his strong arm. So play action, I like your thoughts on just bringing the tight ends into it, and we'll get to our hot takes, which my hot takes does involve a tight end actually.
Hot takes.
So we'll do our hot takes a little bit later. But I do have a tight end in mind. I'll give that away at least a little bit. So we'll see about that. But I did also want to point out, John did just say the Texans officially won. So That is official. Texans win. But for the offense, those are our keys so far is play action, pre-snap motion, lean on your tight ends.
We had a question earlier, too, about are we in Buffalo? Where are you in Buffalo?
Me?
Yeah,
I'm right. I can see this. I can't right now, but I would be able to see the stadium from my house if it wasn't horrible out. But no, I live actually right near the stadium. Can see it right from my house. So I am in Buffalo. It's pretty rough outside right now. Just with snow flying everywhere, winds going crazy. I know my dog's not exactly loving it right now over here in Buffalo, but hopefully by the end of tomorrow and everything will calm down a little bit, and they can get on the roads and get plowing and everything. But yeah, I am in Buffalo. Izzy, you are not in Buffalo, so Izzy's not in Buffalo, but we do have one of us.
Carolina, baby.
Yeah, we got the Carolinas in here, and we got Buffalo. So yeah, but all right, we just went over what the offense lean on. However, we talked about TJ Watt not being in there, the Pittsburgh's defense not having the best secondary in the world. But when you do look at this Steelers defense, what does scare you looking at the Steelers defense facing against the Bills offense?
Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith are the ones that make me nervous. Alex Highsmith has had a good season. The question is, can he do it without TJ? Right? If the threat's on one side and not on both sides, can the Bills scheme something up to take away that one-side threat? I don't think so. I think that Alex Highsmith will be shut down today because there's no TJ Watt. Whereas if you shut down a TJ Watt, you deal with Alex Highsmith. And if you shut down Alex Highsmith, you deal with TJ Watt. So that's just the way it works. And then you have Cam Hayward's big ass in the middle, and he's going to plow through whoever he has to plow through to get to your quarterback if you try something doubling both those guys. You can't do it. You'd have to run big packages. And so at this point, I think that the plan will be to cheat more towards Highsmith's side with maybe a double on Hayward. Maybe you have a tight end chipping Highsmith, and you just deal with whatever pressure may come from the right. That's Josh's visible side, not his blind side. And we all know that if somebody comes off that side, Josh is very liable to make them look silly and miss in the pocket. I think that Josh is gonna have a good day. I think that he'll be a little bit more improved after another week, dealing with whatever injury or ailment his neck's been dealing with and his shoulder. I don't see them really having much for the Bills. This game could be early, and it could go the whole time. It could be like the Chargers game, the Patriots game, where we have to go out there and play the whole game. I don't know if I see it that way, but I don't have to.
Yeah, when you're talking about strengths on this defense, you took it right out of my mouth. Is Cameron Hayward, man? I think I've said it a couple times on the show, or at least in general, is Cameron Hayward is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players, not just on the Steelers, but in the NFL in general. He's been an unbelievable player for them for a long time. He's been he wreaks havoc, like you said, in the middle, no matter who's against him, whether it's an all-pro, whether it's a rookie, whether it's, anybody no matter who's lined up in front of him, they have a tall task ahead of them. So Cameron Hayward, yes, that is one, and I'm going to build off of it a little bit and say it's another guy that's been there for a long, long time, does not play. However, it is head coach there, Mike Tomlin. He, I guess, is the other thing that scares me when it comes to this Pittsburgh defense is Mike Tomlin's a very good coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to put his guys in position as well. I mean, we've seen it, never had a losing season since he's been there. So we've seen it, right? We've seen Mike Tomlin be able to put his guys in position. So I guess outside of maybe the players to be scared about, Mike Tomlin is a very, very good football mind. Did actually go to school with Sean McDermott in college. I believe they were teammates.
Yep, William and Mary.
Yep, William and Mary. So that's a cool little story that they get to face off now.
And they both have coaches under them on their teams that went to William and Mary as well. Joe Brady went to William and Mary.
Oh, I did not know that. Actually, I did not know that. So they William and Mary, I feel like, had some pretty good NFL recognition in
their
a long.
Team sucks though.
Yeah, their team.
Their team is horrible. Like I have a customer yesterday who was like, "Yeah, my kids went to William and Mary," and I was like, "Oh shoot, our head coach." I have a Bills lanyard that I wear with my keys on them, and I was like, "Yeah, our head coach went to William and Mary, and we're playing the Steelers, and their head coach went to William and Mary." And she's like, "Oh, I know Tomlin did. I forgot McDermott did too." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Wow, that's crazy." I was like, "Yeah, we're playing the William and Mary Bowl." Some people have said, and she was like,
"Why do I want to say Sean McVay also went there?" No, he went to Miami. Never mind. I thought for some reason he went there.
Looks like a Miami guy.
We went to Miami University, graduated in 2008, but for some reason I thought he went there, but I guess not. But yeah, no, I mean it's cool to see how some of these schools have just alumni that went to school together and make it now together. But yeah, Mike Tomlin, we've seen what he can do, right, man? He's not a single losing season in I want to say 17 seasons.
No, it's like 12 or 13 seasons.
Winning.
Took over after Cowher's Super Bowl season, which was like 2006 or 2007.
He has 17. Oh, it's not 17. This year created 17 straight non-losing seasons, which is
07.
Unbelievable. That is unbelievable that
That's
he won.
Nuts, bro.
So yeah, Mike Tomlin, he's a phenomenal coach, knows how to put his guys in position. So on top of Cameron Hayward, that's what scares me is Mike Tomlin's understanding of the game of football. But at the end of the day, this offense should be able to take plenty of advantage with injuries with TJ Watt and just in general, this being a younger, maybe secondary with Joey Porter Jr. and just Keanu Benton there also in the middle. So you have some young guys there, and they should be able to take advantage of it. The offense should be fine. However, the defense, we've seen the defense obviously play at a very, very high level at times this season, and very, very little times have we seen them not play at a high level. So this Bills defense is a very, very good defense. Steelers offense was one of the worst in football this season. Now Mason Rudolph has had some solid weeks for them ever since they switched. However, it's still not exactly a top tier quarterback in the NFL. So my question to you is, are you at all concerned, at all, even in the slightest concerned with how this defense matches up against the Steelers offense?
No.
No. Does any part?
We went to we played Miami in Miami, shut down Tyreek Hill for the most part. He had some catches, some yards. on some very predictable plays. George Pickens, solid wide receiver, very good upcoming wide receiver. If this was year 3 or year 4 for him, I would be worried. He's got 5 touchdowns on the year. Not concerned. Same thing with Deontay Johnson, 5 touchdowns on the year, 750 yards. They're not, a very prolific passing offense. And we have one of the better secondaries in the NFL. Poyer and Hyatt, as of late, have been playing much better. Whether Rasul Douglas plays or not, I'm not as concerned because this defense isn't really predicated on excellent cornerback play. It just has never been. We've had Trey White, and then we've had Levi Wallace, and then we had Trey White and pick a name. And then that 1 year against the Chiefs, when they had Byron Pringle, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, they had a slew of just speed at corner. That's when they finally got us because they were just too fast for us. I don't see that being the case this year. Christian Benford's a 4-4 guy. Dane Jackson's not that fast, but our safeties seem to be playing better now with the emergence of Terrell Bernard being able to play more free and him playing as well as he does, getting the interceptions he does. It's been a ride this year for this defense, but I don't really see a matchup issue because I don't see a crazy scheme that they're putting together that's going to really give us problems.
Yeah, I think the only thing with this defense is that can hurt them is if they don't tackle, right? And that's been an issue at times this season. I mean, in the Sean McDermott it's been kind of a problem at times. And that's really, to me, the only way that I see this Pittsburgh Steelers offense putting up enough points to beat the Bills is if the Bills simply just cannot tackle, because they're going to try to get the ball into Jaylen Warren's hands. They're going to try to get the ball in Najee Harris's hands outside the tackles and in space to try to see if what they can do. Obviously, Najee Harris isn't exactly a speed demon, but he can make guys miss here and there. He's not the best running back in the league. He's had a better year this year than he did in the past. I know he got a lot of slack, and the people thought Jaylen Warren would take over in Pittsburgh, but Najee Harris has had a better season this season than I think people thought he would. But they got a two-headed monster there in the backfield. Now, is it two top-tier running backs? Jaylen Warren I will say, he's got some pop to him, man. He's got some burst. He's got, when you get the ball in his hands, he can make people miss. He can make things happen. So that to me is the only thing that concerns me is maybe the use of the running backs and the inability to tackle. So if they can get screen passes, if they can get dump offs, which again, we've also even seen the Bills at times struggle against little dump offs and letting them get 8-9 and just drive down the field. Next thing you know, they're already in field goal range, right? We've seen that happen before. So for me, I guess it can come down to just thinking, if we can just play easy here. We don't have to, send crazy blitzes. We don't have to do anything crazy here because this offense, if they overthink this Pittsburgh Steelers offense and think, we kind of underestimate them, that's really the only thing for me that's concerning is if they underestimate them. Now, I do not believe that they will, because Sean McDermott and this team knows what it's like to be in the playoffs. They know that you have to bring your A game every single down. So I don't believe that it will happen, but if there's anything to concern me about this defense, it would be maybe that, just the tackling and in open space and everything. So we'll see what they can do. I think that they will be fine. But what do you think in terms of the defense, however, then instead of something that concerns you, what do you think they need to focus on to succeed against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I think that specific blitzes are going to be a key to this game. The Bills have tended to blitz a bit more with Sean McDermott holding the reins rather than Leslie Frazier, and they really are very specifically timed blitzes, and I see that being the case. I can see this game, Taron Johnson coming in on blitzes more than usual because of the interior of the Steelers. The offensive line is really where their strength is. Their tackles are kind of, but their interior, the offensive line. I forget who their center is. They just drafted him this year, last year. I forget, was it Linderbaum?
Well, they got Mason Cole for their center.
I'm thinking of somebody else. Then.
James Daniels at right guard for them. They did draft Broderick Jones, however, at tackle. Yes.
Him. Okay, so I was wrong. It's the left tackle that's really been kind of.
Yeah.
But I think, and usually on the right side of the line, that's usually where Epinesa and Von Miller rush front. So I can see that, Ron Miller and Epinesa getting through, but I think that there'll be more decoys for the edge blitz from the nickelback.
Yeah, I think what this defense, you touched on, not, the defensive line being able to maybe take advantage of this offensive line a little bit at times. I think, though, the number one thing that they need to do, I know we talked about tackling a little bit, but outside of that, and we talked about it just a little bit last week, is don't give them anything free. And when I mean free, it's whether it's penalties, big plays that you just big chunk plays that cannot happen. So for me, you have to absolutely just no dumb penalties, whether it's pass interference, face mask, roughing the passer. You cannot let this Pittsburgh offense get free yards. Make them earn every single yard that they need, because if you do, they will not be able to move the ball consistently against this Buffalo Bills team. Maybe they'll go down and score the first drive of the game. Maybe that's what happens. But at that point, the Bills, I think, one drive would be the most that they would get absolutely just driven down on, because this offense should not be anywhere close to 25 points, 30 points, right? If this defense allows that, then there'll be a lot of conversation about how this game went and what went wrong, because there's no way this Pittsburgh team should honestly even put up more than 15, maybe more than 17, really, because this Pittsburgh offense just does not have the firepower to do it, right? They might get a big play from George Pickens. They might get a big play from Jaylen Warren, right? Maybe one big touchdown. But this team should not consistently let up big drives, and that starts by not allowing them to get free yards. No free yards. That's the number one thing I think this defense needs to worry about. No dumb penalties. No nothing to give them a free first down on 3rd and long or 3rd and even 5. Right. 3rd downs, no penalties. Big plays in big moments. So for them, just penalties is going to be my thing for the defense. So this defense, though, at the end of the day, like we both said, should not have really a huge issue against this offense. They really. I
got one more thing, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing the Steelers do a lot that they do well, and we don't do very well against, is the screen game. Yep. We don't do very well against the screen. They're pretty good at the screens. So the Bills are going to have to sell out at times on the screens, which could leave you open deep at times. And so if you don't want to get, death by 1,000 paper cuts, which may be part of their plan to screen us to death until we decide that, all right, that's enough of that bullshit. We're going to go ahead and start sending guys in the hard flats. They may decide to start, well, since you're going to do that, we're going to drop slants or, sluggos on you. And that could be a problem that happens later in the game. So the Bills are going to have to be on their P's and Q's in standard defenses when they run screens to be able to get there and sniff them out before they occur.
Yeah, that's definitely been something the Bills, over the past few years have really struggled with, is even wide receiver screens.
I hate them.
Oh, they're some of the most ugly looking things on earth, but when they work, man, they work. I mean, they are a thing of beauty when they work. However, and I'm remembering David's comment up here, actually, that just popped up. I miss Milano, especially for screens.
I did too.
Yeah, and Milano, even Milano at times struggled with screens. This whole team has, but having Milano, if there's anybody that was able to sniff out screens fast on this team, it was Matt Milano. It was Matt Milano, Teron Johnson are two of the best on the Buffalo Bills at screens. So I could see also a lot of screens to the opposite side of Teron Johnson, which means guys like Dane Jackson, guys like Christian Benford are going to have to step up, make those timely tackles, which they definitely have the ability to. But if, like you said, if they try to screen us into just oblivion, then that could become an issue. If they continue to get 5, 7, then 14, then back down to 8, if they can continue to just drive down the field that way, that could become an issue. So, it's a tough kind of thing with the defense. Like we said, they should not struggle at all against this offense. But I do also want to bring up this question before we get into all pro selections. This question here from Man of War, and he asks, "Hi, does the game postponement help the Bills?" I'm going to go with actually maybe a little bit at the time, but at the end of the day, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. Now, when it comes to playoffs, I think it makes it tougher, because now all of a sudden, whoever wins tonight, we know then whoever ends up winning, who we know who the Bills are going to play if they win, they automatically now have 2 more days of rest, right, over the Buffalo Bills. So a little bit, I think, it helps the Bills a little bit on Monday compared to them playing on Sunday, because then maybe they'll be able to throw the ball a little bit easier. But when it comes to their playoffs, like in general, I don't believe so. What do you think, though? Do you think that the game postponement helps the Bills?
I actually think it does, because we're more of the passing team and they're more the running team. And so in a game like tomorrow, it would be a running style game. You'd have to be able to run the ball. And for us, the run game in that game would be Josh Allen. It wouldn't be so much the running backs. And you don't want your quarterback doing that too much. And tomorrow it would be 20 to 25 rushes for Josh Allen. Whereas on Monday, Josh Allen then becomes a passer again. And I say, that's good. Now, let's say they decide to keep the game tomorrow at 1, but they move the game out of town to Cleveland or Detroit or something like that, right? Which the rumor was Cleveland, but I didn't see anything actually official to substantiate that. That seemed like something that was.
I saw Atlanta as well.
That wouldn't have been terrible either, because tons of Bills fans down here in the South. A lot of Bills fans serve in the military, and most of us are down here from Columbia, South Carolina, right here in Fayetteville, Raleigh area where I live at, down to Fort Benning, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia. Like, there's a lot of Bills fans, and so there's a lot of us anyway, but we spread out, especially due to military service. You'd be surprised at how many Bills fans really serve in the military. Thank all of them along with myself. I know I'm not thanking me, I'm thanking them for being there with me. That would have been so bad. I think the Cleveland one makes it a little rough, because Cleveland's so close to Pittsburgh. It's only a 2-hour drive. It's a 3-hour drive from Buffalo. Plus, Buffalo's going to get cracked and snowed in. So while the Bills fans would get the priority because they bought tickets already, those Steelers fans will be chomping at the bit to get their hands on tickets, because it's not so far and they're not going to be snowed in. I think that the Monday night or Monday game really does benefit the Bills more, because the weather should have subsided to a substantial level that the Bills will be able to run their game plan in that game. And the field.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that it will. I don't think it will do it a ton. I know, but I definitely, yes, it will help them a little bit. But yeah, when it comes to the playoffs in general, do you think in playoffs it can mess with maybe the Bills win Monday? Can it mess with them the following week?
It depends on how the NFL wants to play this, right? Because there are going to be teams on Saturday this week that are going to play next Sunday. There are going to be teams that play this Sunday that play next Saturday. So the Bills play Monday. The NFL should make this next game play Sunday. So then you put the AFC divisional round that the Bills play in on Sunday, so that way they have at least that 6 days. Right? Yeah. That would be the right thing to do. And it's up to them to do it. But, like if they played Sunday and then they played Saturday, it's the same shit. So who cares?
I also just saw this question. Sorry, I just saw this question come in from David here, which is just a funny one. How many times will we hear that 60 or 76 is eligible during the game? I think the bar would be under probably like 4.5 right now, and I would probably lean over.
I'd go over. I'd say if it's 6.5, I go over still.
Yeah, just because of the weather. Now, if it was better weather, like there was clear outside, I would probably go under. But if the line's at like 5.5, like you said, I'm taking the overs there still. So I would say probably 6+ times.
There's a point here the Manafort made.
But they don't have to travel even if it is. That is actually a very good point as well. I actually did not think about it that way. Is that they wouldn't have to travel. So yeah, I guess maybe
it does kind of nullify the advantage that we would have not having to travel and having an extra day. But it's a good point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great point. So it's a tough question when it comes to if it really helps them, how much it helps them. I guess it definitely helps the Bills, but how much? That's, I guess, more up for debate.
Say we play Texans.
Yeah,
they play today. We play Monday. We see them Saturday.
That could be. I would be very shocked though if the Bills win, if they put either Bills or Steelers after this game. If they put them Saturday, I feel like they have to put them Sunday at this point. It would just be, they would get a lot of backlash if they put a team that just played Monday. Like that's why I think even like whoever wins the Philly game, they'll play Sunday as well, probably. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But before we get into our predictions and hot takes, I know that's at least my favorite part of the show. I know a lot of people love that part of the show at the end. I do want to talk about all pro selections. The AP all pro selections came out on Friday. We know we saw the player ones come out, and we talked about that a little bit. Not as I don't believe there was a single Buffalo Bill on the player one. And then on the AP all pro, there was one Bill selected to the all pro second team, and that was slot cornerback Teron Johnson. It was the first year slot corner was added to all pro selections. Teron Johnson gets all second team. The only guy that got over him slot corner was Trent McDuffie. I know that hurts for Bills fans a lot because Bills fans did definitely want him in that draft, the Kaiir Elam draft. But he ended up going to Kansas City. He gets slot corner, which again, Teron Johnson, top tier corner. I am kind of shocked he's not on the first team. So just before we get into who was snubbed and who should have been on it, what do you think of Teron getting it? We do want to say Teron and Jim. I know that I saw that comment as well from Jim. That's definitely one of the biggest one, at least in my opinion, which we'll get into in a second. But when it comes to slot corner, all pro second team, Teron Johnson, what does it mean for you to see Teron Johnson as a slot corner, all pro second teamer?
I was very proud of it, and I would put him ahead of McDuffie. And I know there are a bunch of Bills fans who want McDuffie, but what the hell are you doing with two slot corners? Like, one guy's out there at a time. You got two top 5 slot corners. You're trading one of them. So, I mean, what the hell was the point of drafting him anyway? Right? You could trade Teron, not knowing what McDuffie was. Nah, no, I'm good. I'm good keeping Teron Johnson. Love and appreciate what he's done with this team. And I hope that they re-sign him and extend him, saving some cap space, and also keeping him around for the long term because he's an excellent slot corner, basically a linebacker on this team. And I'm happy for him that he made the All-Pro list, and I thought he should have been first-team All-Pro. Second, I'm shocked that Terrell Bernard didn't make it with 6.5 sacks, the interceptions, the fumble recoveries, the forced fumbles, tackles for loss. Like, Milano made it last year, and Terrell Bernard's having a better year this year than Milano had last year.
Yeah.
Just being objective here. And I love Milano. He's my favorite player on this defense, is Matt Milano. He's my favorite player on the defense. When I first watched him play in 2017, and I watched him go out there and not get the start, even though I knew he should have got the start over Ramon Humber. I was like, why is this kid not playing? Then week 10, he gets the start, he takes it over, and never looks back. Matt Milano is one of the most underrated players in the NFL, let alone the Bills. He got All-Pro last year. Finally, he got his due. And Terrell Bernard comes in and is like, hold my beer. Should have been an All-Pro this year, Terrell Bernard. Ed Oliver, just like Jim said, should have been an All-Pro. We had defenders that should have been All-Pros this year. Also, Deion Dawkins.
That one was also a shocking one.
Deion Dawkins should have been a second-team All-Pro. I wouldn't put him first team, but if you ask me, he's had a better year than Tyron Smith.
Yep.
He's a premier left tackle at this point. He's probably top 3 in the NFL, and Tyron Smith is not top 5 at this point in the NFL. He's probably still top 10. He's damn good tackle, but come on now. I was also amazed that Dak got it over Josh. I knew Lamar was going to get there, but Dak.
Yeah, I know. We've talked a lot about the quarterbacks. I know that we've talked a lot in the Bill Buffalo chat about quarterbacks and who we think. And I'm definitely shocked Allen didn't get All-Pro second team just based off of the fact that he led the league in touchdowns. I mean, I know we talked about that and how I don't necessarily think he's. I don't think he's necessarily the MVP of the league. However, he still was a top 5 quarterback easily in this league this year. I mean, you can't put up that many touchdowns and not be. He definitely had his woes. Am I super shocked that Dak got it? Not necessarily, but I definitely think I thought Allen was going to get a second team. It is kind of crazy to think about it as in the sense of the guy who led the league in touchdowns didn't get it. Didn't get on either, but that is, that's how it goes nowadays, right? You can't just put up touchdowns. Your team has to win. You have to look consistent the entire year, or as consistent as possible. I mean, look at Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was in the MVP talk for all season, and then all of a sudden he has one horrible game, and boom, no, not anymore. So it's a tough thing to look at when it comes to these awards, because even, and I've said it in the chat too as well over this past week or two, is it's not just all pros, it's not just MVPs, it's every award possible is starting to become almost irrelevant, right? And a lot of people just fighting over them, and people looking at them like, what is happening here? Whether it is all pro, whether it is even pro. Look at Pro Bowl too. Pro Bowl has become the biggest joke in probably in sports history. Is the Pro Bowl?
Don't get me started, because I will go on a tangent about the freaking Pro Bowl.
The Pro Bowl has become so irrelevant to how players actually are. It's unbelievable. Even the top 100 list that the players come out with every year, you see people get hate on. Whether it's everything that comes out now is questioned.
That one's more fair.
Yeah, that one. I
like the top 100 list. I think it is skewed still a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
but for the most part, I think that's the most fair. Like when your peers have that respect for you, it's a different thing. When I got people in the newspapers voting on this crap, and it's like it feels like Lamar's going to win the MVP this year. And you know me, I disagree. I don't think his numbers say enough for it. Josh has 15 more touchdowns than him.
Yeah,
Josh passing touchdowns alone is just the same as Lamar has total. I don't see how this stuff happens. And also, it appears to be a quarterback award if Lamar wins it. If Lamar wins it, it's a quarterback award. It's no longer a all-around award. It's no longer the best player, because Christian McCaffrey is having a better year than him, if you ask me. Possibly Raheem Mostert with 21 touchdowns as a running back.
Even Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, has a better season than I mean, you know me. I've said it too. I've said it. If they give Lamar this award, just call it the best quarterback on the best team award.
Yep.
Simple as that. Because it's becoming that, and it's slowly becoming over the years. And it really is becoming kind of a joke. I know we go into MVP a little bit last few weeks, but yeah, I mean, all these awards have just seemingly become just what list can we put together to make people just argue about it the most, and it's kind of crazy.
Like college,
huh?
It feels like college, like when the teams get selected for the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, if you won all year, but then you lost your last game, you're not in. Like, who gives? Like, dude, I won all year. I won 12 in a row. I lost one at the end, and that's it.
Look at even Florida State this year, right? Florida State went 13-0. They didn't even lose a game, and they didn't get in. And that's obviously they did have a quarterback injury. That changes a lot of things. But it's the point is the same thing of, well, why play the games? Why does Josh Allen put up all these touchdowns if it doesn't mean anything? Why do we even count turnovers if people are only going to count interceptions? Why, you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, look at the game that Lamar did against the Dolphins. It's like Josh Allen did that shit week 4. 5 touchdowns, 158.3 passer rating, perfect QBR. Like, what are you talking about? This has been done against him already. This isn't the first one to do it. He just happened to have this same offense that he played last week and torched. And now he's playing against Tua, and his defense is going to get him the ball back, and he's going to have way more opportunities. And the Dolphins' secondary, honestly, Ramsey and X or not, stink.
Yeah,
they stink. They suck.
Yeah, X. That's one guy that X. That was a fall off that happened fast for him. Ramsey's still pretty good in zone. I'll give him that. But man coverage, man, he's also a guy that just
he got look, John. That's the shit about last week that really had me, because we should have beat them 40-14. We should have beat them 40-14, and we didn't. We squeaked by, and that shit still gets me a little hot, because we had look, Diggs was the perfect route. Burns Ramsey, he should have had 150 yards in that game. That catch would have put him over 150 in that game.
Josh just missed him.
And the neck and the shoulder, I get it, but bro, you hit him perfectly. Like the next drive, with coverage draped over his back, you hit him perfect there. What happened? You can hit him with the cornerback on him, but not off of him.
Yeah,
come on, buddy. Like,
yeah, it's been a weird year with Josh Allen and deep balls. I mean, maybe the cold weather is what he needed, and maybe this Monday he figures it out and just starts airing it out deep the whole game. But back to the All Pro list though, real quick. So the guys who
My
missed,
bad.
the guys who missed, in our opinion, then we have Josh should have been at least all team, I think. Running back, I was a little bit shocked. I do get Kyren Williams being there. I not necessarily that James Cook didn't make it. I'm not necessarily super shocked about that. I'm shocked a little bit Kyren made it there. But Kyren Williams, when healthy, was unbelievable this year. I'm very shocked to see Sam Laporta as tight end on the second team. That one blows my mind a little bit. First team ended up being George Kittle, but Sam Laporta is a little bit shocking to me. Sam Laporta had a great year, phenomenal year, but all pro second teams seems like a little bit of a stretch.
As a rookie, too?
Yeah, as a rookie, it just seems a little bit off. I think Travis Kelce still probably should have got it at least as second team. I mean, he still put up over 1,000, right? And he still was drawing so much attention that he deserved, in my opinion, second team. But when it comes to the Bills solely, Ed Oliver was the top one for me. That was
no Kelce, no playoffs for the Chiefs. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If he gets hurt week 7 and he's out for the year, he tears an ACL or like shoulder labrum or something, he's done for the year. The Chiefs' year is over.
Oh yeah,
it's done.
He was hurt early in the year too, and he could have been worse than if he's out for 3-4 weeks there.
Yeah, he's down and out. That's a wrap.
Yeah. So
the Raiders win the division at 8-9 or whatever the hell they finished.
That would be
rough.
That'd be a story right there, especially with Antonio Pierce. That would have been awesome if you would have been able to do that. But
they had pictures of him and Taylor Swift in the hospital together.
Yeah, so there'll always be shocking ones when it comes to this list, right? Those were just Sam Laporta was definitely a big shocking one to me. When it comes to the Bills, the biggest one to me by far though, Ed Oliver by a mile. He was pressures, just getting in the backfield against the run, doing it. He's had a phenomenal year. I was shocked he at least didn't get second team at least. Terrell Bernard was another one, like we mentioned. Who else? I mean, Deion Dawkins was another one at left tackle that I think could have been on there.
Rasul Douglas, maybe? I don't know.
Rasul Douglas definitely I wouldn't have been shocked. I think part of it also is that, the other corners that got chosen have had phenomenal seasons. And cornerback is one of those ones where it's a hard one because there are so many good cornerbacks in this league. It's a hard one to really make it there as a first or second team, but he's definitely one guy that could have been on there. Wouldn't have been shocked to see him.
I believe he's allowed the worst passer rating against him in the NFL. So quarterbacks do the worst throwing his way in the NFL.
I will say the one guy that got the biggest snub actually now that comes to mind, long snapper Reed Ferguson. Man, how is he not chosen here? He's never. I think now it's been over like 800 snaps since he's missed one, man. I mean, he's the definition of consistency. No,
he is. But I'm like, what?
Yeah, we had Jacksonville's long snapper get in there and Minnesota's. But
if you go, hey, our long snapper made All Pro. I'm not bragging. I don't give a shit.
Oh, I'd be bragging about it. I'd be all no. But no, Reed Ferguson. Shout out to Reed Ferguson though for really phenomenal. Phenomenal. I know he likes to cook too, so he's a
gets
great
cut
guy.
Every year after the preseason and then signed back the next day.
Because they need him. He's best in the game, man.
But they signed him for like a 2-3 year deal, and then they cut him and you bring him back on a 1 year. It's like, well, I mean, we tried to honor you. We love you, buddy, but
I think he gets it. He understands why it happens, right? They need to do it. But shout out Reed Ferguson, man. We love you, Reed Ferguson.
Matt, you need to make long snapper a real position, okay, and stop bullshit.
Yeah, stop putting him at tight end, man. I don't know if I've ever seen Reed Ferguson even line up at tight end.
No, but I'm saying like make it a real position. Yeah. Because I'm cutting him in my franchise every time. He's a 35. Like he's not making my team.
Mm-hmm.
So he's rated 35. He's not making my team. And so Deion Dawkins becomes my long snapper. Right? Bullshit.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. That was just funny talking about long snapper. All right. But I guess our takes on all pro and everything. We're kind of all over there, but that's our takes on who missed, who shouldn't have been on there, and everything like that. Before we though, like I said, get into our hot takes and everything and predictions. There are 2 more questions we got. Man of War got another question here. Should Von Miller be in the lineup for Monday's game? I think you have him available. I don't think he plays over 25% of the snaps. That's at least my take on it. What do you got for your opinion there?
I agree with that. I hope not. Look, you have healthy young guys who are doing more. play those guys. Play Epinesa, play Shaq Lawson, play Leonard Floyd, play Kingsley Jonathan. I don't give a shit. Von Miller, like 10, 15 snaps tops, obvious passing downs. He's having a hard time getting around the bend. He's definitely good at keeping quarterbacks in the pocket, though. That's one thing. That's one way he is affecting teams. He's not getting around the corner to get to the quarterback, but he's definitely forcing that tackle backwards a lot of times with his bull rush, and he's definitely bending enough to make them respect his movement. But he doesn't have that finish him to it. He doesn't have that, like, get there. So I don't mind seeing him out there. If it's 3rd and 20, yeah, go ahead and put him out there.
Yeah,
because that play's gonna take longer to develop, and it may give him more time to get there. But other than that, no, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good with Von Miller. So yeah, I think we all agree there. All right, and then Dustin, how can I watch the Chiefs versus Dolphin game? Well, he did say there's no Peacock in Canada. The only other thing I would say is maybe like illegal streams, and I'm not necessarily saying it's the right thing to do. But I know that
you're breaking international law right now.
Yeah. I know that's what majority of people will do, at least. So yeah, I would just maybe, I don't know, search for a stream or something.
SportsSurge.club.
Yeah, Peacock, that's a whole nother. We're not even gonna get into that. I can't get into that right now. But let's just say I don't exactly agree with it either, and love that they're doing that. But that's the NFL's decision. That's their decision. All right, is that all the questions we got here then? Let's see. I believe that's all the questions. So let's get into our predictions here. And Dustin, I agree with you there. Yes, it is definitely ridiculous that you can't watch Man of War got it. TSN is showing the game. I'm in Canada watching the game right now. There you go, Dustin. So TSN, they got it on there. Man of War, shout out Man of War for getting the answer for us there. Unfortunately, even though I am 20 minutes from Canada, I do not know the Canadian channels or how that works or anything. So TSN
HD.me.
just yeah, and if you can't do TSN illegal streams, find an illegal stream. That there's a million of them. So yeah, there's that. But all right, let's get into our predictions, hot takes. I'm gonna put some up here first. We got Joey here with 27-24. Close one.
Fucking Joey.
So Joey, I like it. I like that it's a close one. Maybe it ends up being that. Susie had 2. She did say at first she said 31-17. So at first she was, 2-score win. Then she changed it up about a minute later to 24-17. So I'm not sure which one was official. I'm guessing the second one, 24-17. That, like I said, I don't necessarily think it's going to be a complete blowout just due to the weather. So 27-14, it's pretty solid right there. And then we got David here. Bills 33 to Steelers 10. Again, Steelers 10. I don't see them scoring over 20, so I see that one as well. Predicted players of the game. Offense is the entire offensive line, so that's a very good one. I could see, especially if they get 33, just running it down their throat, just boom, boom, boom. And then defensively is Teron Johnson, the All-Pro himself. Maybe a little pick action, interception action, maybe from that I'm getting. So there's David's. Teron Johnson. We got Teron Johnson there as the defensive player of the game he had there. And then JP, 24-13 Bills. So we got a couple Bills here looking like 24-ish, around 15 average for the Steelers there. I'm going to go with 24-9. Real quick, real easy. I don't think the Bills necessarily put up a ton of points, and I don't think the Steelers move the ball at all, really. So I'm going to go with 24-9. That's my prediction. Bills, what do you got?
27-16 Bills.
27-16. So yeah, about 11-point game from you, 15-point game from me, around that. That sounds about right? About a 10 to 20-point win sounds about right.
That's my safe pick.
Yeah, I've also gone. Everybody knows that last week I picked the Dolphins to win solely on the fact because I want to contradict myself. For the past few weeks, I've been doing, even when I have picked the Bills, a closer game score and a lower scoring by the Bills, just because I can't continue. The only times I've ever predicted the Bills to score over 30 over the season, they've lost. So I'm kind of doing a weird thing right now with my predictions, but 24-9 just based off of weather and everything, that's going to be my score. Hot takes though. We're on to our hot takes here. If you guys have any top takes, drop them in the comments. I'm going to just do my first one first. My first hot take is that the Bills hold Mason Rudolph to under 100 yards passing.
What the?
So,
Okay.
yeah, 100 under 100 yards. Excuse me. I think they have a dominating day. I think that with this weather and everything, it'll be a tough day for Mason Rudolph. So there's my first hot take. What do you got for yours?
I have all three tight ends being scored exclusively by tight ends.
Wow. So Quentin Johnson, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, or Quentin Morris. Did I say Quentin Johnson?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Sorry, that's a Charger. Which actually it's Quentin Johnson.
I was like, we drafted that guy. Hold up, where's he at? We need him.
Hey, Quentin Morris has close to the same amount of touchdowns, I believe, as Quentin Johnson in his career. So kind of close. So.
He's but, yeah. He can't catch a damn thing outside the end zone, but in the end zone or on a touchdown catch, Quentin Morris is the truth right there.
Hey, Quentin Morris had a phenomenal. Or no, was that Reggie last year? No, was that Reggie that had the screen that he took and broke a tackle and ended up getting in from 20 yards out or something? I think that was Reggie.
Left early in the season.
All right, so that's a great one. All three tight ends, Razor Rudolph under 100 is mine. We got another score here, by the way. I'll throw up here. Dan, 27-16. Was that what you? Yeah, let's say up 27-16. So hot one, 27-16. David here, 3 picks, 1 pick 6 against Rudolph. That's a phenomenal one as well. Could definitely see them getting after it. My second one does go off of yours, kind of. Dalton Kincaid gets in the end zone not once, but twice. So Dalton Kincaid, I think, will have a big day, one of the tight ends. What's your second hot take?
Second hot take. I see 2 sacks for one Edward Oliver.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie O, man.
I don't even know if it's a hot take. That's
just
like
bump it up to 3. Just bump it up to 3. That makes it a hot take.
I see 2 for Ed Oliver and 2 for Floyd.
2 for Floyd, so 4. Okay, 2 and 2. Leonard Floyd, we know what he can do, man.
I think it's gonna be a 6-sack game. How about that?
6-sack game. 6. So 6 combined. 2 from Ed and 2 from
2 from Floyd. 1 from Daquan and 1 from AJ Panessa.
Okay, so getting D-line involved, getting them big day from them, making Mason Rudolph wish he never ever had to take a snap in Buffalo. My last one, however, is a very interesting one. I think the Bills put up 17 of their 24 points for my prediction. So I have the score 24-9. I think they put up 17 of them in the second half. So I think it'll be a slow offensive start.
That's
second half.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I guess that's not a hot take. I guess if I flopped it around, I guess my hot take should be flopped around. So I guess I'll switch it. The Bills score 17 of their 24 in the first half of the game, and that's I guess my hot take. JP also has a hot take here with 5 sacks and 2 picks by the defense. So again, big defensive day. And then David here, it is a hot take when Oliver pressures Rudolph to throw picks. Yeah, I mean. Look, I think this defense is going to have a day. I think any hot take with the defense is going to be a good one. But yeah, I guess what is your third and final hot take?
Third and final hot take. I think James Cook goes for over 110 rushing.
110. Hey, last time we had a James Cook yards prediction, I did hit actually. I believe I hit over 100 one day, and he had ended up getting. I think that was the Cowboys game where he ended up putting up like 100. What did he put up? 150 on the ground, and then another.
These tight ends are going to eat so much that these guys are going to have to respect them in the passing game that they're not going to be able to get off the tight end. Tight ends are going to start being able to block heavy, and that's going to open up lanes for James Cook behind them.
Yeah. All of yours kind of go in if they can get the tight ends involved, they'll open up the run game. If they can get that involved, in turn, what does that do? Open up the
I believe, bro. I believe.
Which also brings me back to one of the keys to the game for the offense, which was get play action involved, which all goes together. So we're just, rolling right now. But we got one final hot take here from David. No punts. That's a final hot take.
Hey, so we'll be 38 to something.
We've seen it before, right? We've seen it before. We've seen no punt game from the Bills in the playoffs before. So I love the hot takes from everybody. I love, the score predictions, everything. And it was a great show again today. That's going to do it for us. We're going to wrap it up here. Izzy, before we hop off, anything you want to say to the people?
To hell with the Dolphins. I hope they get their ass kicked tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that as well. I'm going to officially put it in and say I'm going for
24 years, bums.
But I'm officially going to go with it as well. I'm going with Kansas City to win. Need it. Kansas City, make them come here next week. Make them come here. So there's our show for tonight. Appreciate you guys hopping in there, being great. You guys were awesome, David. Thank you again. You guys were great in the comments. So it's another fun one again. As I always say, go Bills. Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe, please. If you're in Buffalo, do not do something you don't have to. Okay, don't go out. Stay safe, please. I don't want to hear about anybody on the news or anything like that. So please be safe. It's good. I know it's pretty bad out right now. And as always, as I always say, go spread some love this week and go make the world a better place. Izzy, last thing before you got something before we go off?
Yeah, if you guys are going to go out, I was in the military, so risk management, risk mitigation was a big thing for me. Make sure your phone's charged before you leave the house. Right? If you have a vehicle that has not necessarily an OnStar, but like a Bluetooth where your phone connects to your car and has accident detection, make sure you have that set up.
Yep.
Make sure every action that you can take to make sure that if something does happen, you can be rescued or found is taken. So that way you're prepared for that situation. Make sure you take every precaution. Have a safety bag in your car with you with snacks, water, and a blanket. Make sure that you have everything that you need for whatever situation you're dealing with, right? In my truck, we always keep an emergency bag. We got granola bars, we have water bottles, we have blankets, we have stuff to tow the car with, we have jumper cables, anything we might need just in case some shit happens on the road, because shit happens on the road. It happens. Make sure you guys go out there and you're prepared for the elements. Make sure you're prepared to where if you need to call for help, you have the ability to call for help.
Yeah. No, I agree with that exactly, Izzy. You know, just if you be overly cautious here, people. I know it's tough to say. Just don't go out if you need to, and if you absolutely have to go out, please take every step possible to be safe. Yeah, well, hopefully Monday morning comes and it's a little bit better, and we can see 80,000 of you guys over at Highmark Stadium. But again, thank you guys all for tuning in. You guys were awesome. Have a phenomenal night. Enjoy this Kansas City Miami game tonight.
Kansas City just scored.
Kansas City just scored. There we go, right off the bat. So Kansas City took the lead. But enjoy the game. Enjoy everything. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, go spread some love this week.